I would now like to introduce you to Benjamin, whose innovative approach has seen the company provide reporting services and solutions to the MR industry for over 25 years. With over 2 decades of industry knowledge, Benjamin is a talented entrepreneur who recognizes the integral role technology plays in market research. He's a doting family man. He enjoys spending time with children and grandchildren and has a passion for skiing. And you might just hear some seagulls in the background that I was just listening to just a short moment ago. Without further ado, I hand you over to Benjamin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhiannon. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry, I can't promise the seagulls will come back. They sort of come and go every now and then. I'm nowhere near the sea. I have no idea why they tend to come near here, but they do, and it's nice. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'm delighted to be speaking to you about how we can automate the reporting of insights for maximum efficiency. Just to give a bit of background then about us, we've been around in the industry for a good long time, and our whole specialty, our whole core expertise is all about the final reporting side within market research. So that is data visualization, online dashboards, and our topic for today, which is the automated reporting solutions that we offer. We've won a number of awards, both from within the industry as well as from at a national level. We won the Queen's Award for Enterprise some years ago. It was a lovely opportunity to go and meet the Queen in Buckingham Palace. I'll never forget that. Really lovely. So I'm in our head office in London, and we have teams across the world: Europe, mainland Europe, North America, and Auckland, New Zealand. And therefore, we're able to leverage that geographical spread in order to provide around-the-clock support for our client base, because our clients are all over the world, all different time zones, and we're available to speak to them, to you, whenever and wherever you may be. I put on the screen here some of the typical issues that we're hearing from across the market research industry, both from research agencies, research companies, and end user corporations. And maybe some of these are familiar to yourselves too. So cancelled projects. They planned projects, they had ongoing trackers, whatever it may be, put on pause because of all the uncertainty that's been in this crazy world that we're all witnessing. Tighter margins. Naturally, profits are being squeezed, and therefore margins are being squeezed. The actual people to get the job done, resources are very inflexible, shall we say, very unpredictable. Maybe you have staff that have been furloughed, maybe staff being laid off, unfortunately, and basically, if those projects that are still going on, and we've seen a significant uptick in projects, particularly since the end of Q2 last year. So projects are still going on, and new projects are actually happening out there, but maybe facing a lower number of resources to be able to handle those. And ultimately, clients, stakeholders are demanding more value from the research that's being done. All these sort of pain points coming together, hitting from different angles, and definitely many people are saying that they feel the impact of those. We've just mentioned some of the painful impacts that you may be experiencing due to COVID and the global downturn in business. It may therefore come as an initial shock to suggest that now would actually be a time to innovate. Innovation tends to cost money and also means introducing changes at a time when there's so much uncertainty. However, to survive this turmoil, we need to be like the chameleon on my slide that is constantly adapting to survive in an ever-changing environment. Innovative reporting has long been perceived as taking heavy technical wizardry. It's no surprise then that many companies don't even consider dipping their feet into the water, and especially at a time like this when companies are all struggling and may not think about proactively putting time and effort into innovation. However, innovating can mean huge cost savings and could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes or making tangible changes that will be mutually beneficial and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. So we're going to be looking today at how we can automate PowerPoint reporting even automate Google Slides, offer more frequent reporting on projects, and offering better formats of reporting, all of which add up to greater value, greater efficiencies. It's important to realize that there's so much more that can be done with the right tool than just, say, using an Excel macro to run off lots of charts, or an online analysis tool that offers rendering of those analyses into simple PowerPoint charts. We're talking about automating client-ready reports with every level of detail fully automated. So it's essential to choose the right tool for the job. The ETAS range of solutions, for example, can handle variance in trackers or across multi-market studies, different brands, different number of brands perhaps, showing or calculating significance and stat testing, dealing with low base conditions, suppressing low base values, for example, or even writing out condition-based analysis text. We natively understand the actual language of market research, both from a data perspective and how research and insights professionals need to report that data. We believe that there's so much more to reporting than just auto-charting. That's why we'd like to call this automated reporting, because we're looking at being able to get as close to, if not the actual final deliverable, through an automated process. What is automated reporting? What does that look like? Well, the way our system works is it takes your existing data sources and any number of those sources, so that it all has to be in one file. That would include just Excel files, SPSS, SPSS SAV files, even Quantum, Wincross, Confirmit, Uncle, Q, Qualtrics, MarketSite, Tableau, and so on. All those platforms that are out there. So we can take the data that's already in those places. We can take an existing template. Now, typically this would be a PowerPoint template or Google Slides template, but we can also automate Word, Excel, PDF, and so on. So we have our data on the one side, we have our desired report shell or template, some people call it, on the other side, and then our software or service that we offer as well will essentially unite the two, pulling data from your sources into your template and therefore populating all those charts, summary tables, even text, imagery, brand logos, and so on. It's doing all that automation for you, and then leaving you with a fully populated and editable presentation deck at the end of that process. So you can still go ahead and make changes before sending it to clients or stakeholders. Let's have a look and see this in action. Okay, so what you're looking at now is our software working on a multi-market deck. This is actually 3 countries worth. So it's going to generate a French report, a German report, an Italian report, all based off the same single template that you can see up there. Let's populate in the first of those countries. This data is all fictitious, and just so you know, not showing anything that's confidential. You can see it's just running off the French report here. You can see the French flag going on there. It's updating all the charts. It's doing conditional formatting. It's put the brand logos for the different cars and the top 3 competitors for that market. Now, of course, the top competitors for any given market will change, and therefore it's allowing for the variance. You'll see as the next report gets generated, a different set of competitors at the top there. There's the German report coming through now. You can see it's showing significance testing, opening circles, it's putting the logos, the flags, like I mentioned. It's automatically colouring in cells based on values as well. That's the conditional formatting. Now, the third and final report is going to be Italy. That's coming through now. It's almost finished. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is show you all 3 outputs that we've just generated side by side, so you can sort of see the differences, subtle differences between them. So there we go. You can see those 3 outputs: France, Italy, Germany. You see the brand logos are different between them. Obviously, the data is different as well. Significance testing is highlighted on all of those. The brand logos appearing as well. This, in fact, you can see one of those slides is the same slide repeated over various segments or statements. So we can automatically repeat the same slide over and over as well. Let's have a look and see what that can actually do for you. We believe this can be relevant on so many different types of projects, and it's particularly relevant now more than ever. So if you're still hand posting numbers into PowerPoint decks or Google Slides, then now's certainly the best time to invest in automated charting and reporting. No matter what quantitative project you're doing, your low-hanging fruit will definitely be trackers or multi-market projects, where there's a fairly consistent template which can be auto-populated. Our belief, however, is that we should always be on the lookout for automating wherever possible. And automation doesn't have to mean all or nothing. So even if you have a tracker with variance, where some questions change over time or they're added, taken away, or a multi-market project where the brands themselves or the number of brands may change between markets, like the example we just saw, it's always worth automating as much as possible. We love the challenge of dealing with change. I'd like to say that you should attune yourself to be on the lookout for opportunities. Maybe adjust your concept ad or copy test template so it can be more cookie cutter. Consider adding value to a syndicated study, where for very little extra effort, each subscriber could get their own deck that is tailored with their branding or pays attention to their brand over the other brands covered when doing a sort, for example. Like I mentioned earlier, it's those small things that can make all the difference to a relationship. So invest more today, and hopefully you'll secure the client or project tomorrow and down the road. Consider also employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction studies, where it's the same report, essentially, that has to be repeated across departments or across branches and segments. That's all very nice. We've talked about things that perhaps are obvious in terms of projects that are very repetitive. But how about ad hoc projects? I'm often asked, is there any mileage with auto-charting purely custom, purely ad hoc projects? Of course, the whole principle of automation is to take a process that's repeated and find a way to automate those repetitive tasks. By its very definition, a project that's ad hoc isn't something that's necessarily templated. However, being that I believe so strongly in applying automation wherever possible, I like to take a step back and analyze any deliverable. For instance, are there any patterns in the slides, the same set of slides repeated across categories? Or would it help the researcher if they could start their reporting with a pre-processed, automatically generated chart deck, and then cherry-pick the ones that they want for their story? We've recently set up a few clients with a pre-generated deck for any given ad hoc study where there's a choice made ahead of time. Yeah, for this question type, I'll have that chart. Or for that question type, I'll take a different type of chart. And making those decisions ahead of time, and then presenting the researcher with this overpopulated deck, shall we say, that should have everything they need in it. And then they can always change things as they want before it goes to their clients. Regardless of project types, there are two other strategic benefits to invest in automated charting. The first being accuracy. Even if we're not talking about completely hands-free reporting, the fact that you can be confident the data being pulled into your charts directly from your data tables is huge. And finally, an incredible yet often overlooked benefit of automation is that projects can be set up on interim or dummy data. And then when the final data is released, you can update an entire deck of slides quite literally within minutes. And that's great when you know you'll be up against the clock to deliver accurate reports to a client under pressure. I also sometimes call this the insurance policy, protecting you against those awkward moments when you've spent an entire night keying in numbers by hand for a client presentation the next morning, only to discover an email at 6 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, an hour before your presentation, from DP saying, "Oh, terribly sorry, I used the wrong weighting. Please use this file instead." Of course, that scenario has never happened before, but it's good to be prepared even for that hypothetical possibility. So that's when your insurance will pay off. That you set up the whole process on dummy data. Doesn't matter if you have to refresh the whole deck when the final data comes in, push the button, bang, it's ready, it's updated. ETABS, it's not just your regular PowerPoint slides or regular PowerPoint charts, summary tables that we can automate, but we can even automate data-driven infographics. And these are some examples from our plugin called Visuals. Really neat little plugin. You can use it either with automation or without. It sits inside of PowerPoint and allows you to create these, like I said, data-driven. So you type in the value 70 for a male and 30 for a female, and it'll give you those icons scaled to size or filled based on a percentage, or maps where you've got labels showing the value for a given region within a country across the world and so on. Even word clouds and nice pictographs. So, bottom line, how can investing in innovation translate into real profit? 6 points. 1, leverage technology to reduce the cost of reporting. Quite simple. 2, once the headache and the onus of reporting is transferred from your fingers, you'll have both the time and the headspace to utilize your analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights, do more analyses. 3, you can seize new tangible revenue generating opportunities. For example, if fieldwork is monthly, but reporting was only just about manageable quarterly, then consider automating the charting and offer monthly reporting for very little extra effort. You're collecting the data monthly anyway. You couldn't physically get it done monthly, but now with the automation you can. If that offer to your client doesn't go down well, quite frankly, I'd be shocked. 4th point, manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, but it is of course prone to error. By reporting directly from the data source itself, you're reducing the chance for typos and inaccuracies. You and your client will have more confidence in the data being reported. Some will say that's priceless. The 5th point, smaller companies in particular can begin to consider pitching on larger, more complex projects that they would otherwise never have even bothered to attempt due to their lack of resources and the size of their company and team. And lastly, with the cost of reporting reduced and new channels for revenue generation created, your profit margins can be increased. In summary then, innovating has many strategic benefits. It gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better and you can do more of it. It gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or grow profits. It strengthens client relationships. You'll be partnering with your clients and moving ahead rather than just doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And finally, even your staff will appreciate it. Instead of exercising their fingers, they can exercise their minds. And it's very much less stressful too. Their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and company. Our team is always available to help you. We have automated charting solutions that will literally bring a smile to your face as you watch entire decks being populated time after time. We've been doing this for the Office suite now for 18 years, and more recently launching the ability to automate Google Slides as well. We have data viz and infographics tools that can transform traditional charts into powerful, more visually attractive stories. We offer a full online dashboard creation service too. So we're not just about PowerPoints and slides and reports, but we'll take care of the setup of online dashboards, the hosting, the security, admin, and updates as well. We offer our solutions as software, so you can do the automation yourselves, or we have teams who can do that work for you. You can send us your biggest challenge, and we'll be more than happy to show you how we can automate that. So thank you for your time today. I really hope you found this presentation helpful and thought-provoking. Please fill in the Q&A box any questions that you may have, and I'll answer those now. We have another 7 minutes for the questions. Please stay safe and well. So even our first question just came in. Using your example, would it be possible to cross information from all 3 countries? Yes, it is. So we can bring in multiple data sources, so a data source for each of those 3 countries, let's say, and bring that into the one deck. Absolutely, or multiple decks for that matter. I hope that answers the question. Next question just came in. Do I need tables, or is raw data sufficient? Can you also do tables? So although we have tabs in our company name, tabs, we don't really do tabs. That's not our specialty at all. It is possible to bring in raw data, so we can bring a SAB file and then, if you like, generate the cross tabulations and the aggregated data as needed for any given slides and charts. But if you think you're buying into eTabs to get a tabs package, we're not a tabs package. yes, you can take raw data. Another question. Can you securely distribute presentations to multiple people? Yes, and we often get that like with the customer satisfaction type projects and employee satisfaction, where it's hundreds or thousands of reports, and each one needs to be automatically sent to the relevant person after it's been generated. And sometimes these have been generated on a server in the background. So yes, it's possible to include as part of the automation, the populating of data, the ability to email each report as it comes in to a specified recipient. Another question, can you create PDFs? Yes, we can. So initially the system will create the report, let's call it a PowerPoint report. It will then convert that to a PDF, and then you could have the PDF sent to your stakeholder or client. Or en masse, create hundreds of PDFs and send those out to each of the individual 100 client store managers or whatever it may be. Next question. How do you deal with stat testing? Yeah, great question. So we can either bring stat testing you've already done in the data and represent that on the charts, on the slides, or if you haven't got the stat testing available, we can do that natively within our system, do the stat testing and show that as the column letters A, B, C, whatever it may be, or indicators, circles, arrows, traffic lights, you name it. Oh, lots of questions here. Is there a limit to the number of charts or objects on the slide? No, there's no limit. So it doesn't matter how rich your deck, your template is. We can populate each and every chart on the slide. Text, brand images like you saw, numbers, of course, base values, that type of thing. What if the decks change between waves? So yes, that's fine. We can handle the change. That change may be, like I said, different brand lists, different numbers of brands. It could be questions have changed over time as well. All of that can be taken into account as part of the automation. And again, even there has been some change in that wasn't automated. You can always do some of that by hand if you have to afterwards, but at least the bulk of everything would have been automated. Couple more questions. Can I pull in data from more than one Excel file? Yes, you can. So there's no limit to the number of places you can be bringing data in from at any one point in time. So you could even have a chart on your slide, and the different component numbers are coming from all over the place. Different workbooks, different worksheets, and so on. That's fine. What are the typical time savings? Very good question. We've seen anything up to 80 or 90% for repetitive projects. One particular client, I remember, they had a 60-slide deck. No, sorry, a 200-slide deck that had to be done for each of 60 countries, and they were spending 4,000 man-hours doing that by hand every year. Luckily, it was just once a year. They put that into our system, and basically it took them about 5 or 6 days to get that all set up. And they were 7 days as much at the outset. And then they were able to generate all 60 countries within 48 hours. So we've gone from 4,000 man hours down to just 48 hours. I mean, it's just massive. Is there any flexibility? Yes, there's flexibility in automation. Like I said, we can deal with the variance over time or between sort of templated projects. 2 more questions. If the tracker gets new brand added, do the charts take that into account, or does the chart have to be set up new? Good question. Well, it depends how it's been set up. So you can either set it up so that it brings in the full list of brands, however short or long that list may be, from country to country or wave to wave, or you can adjust it to only show the top end brands, let's say. You've got a lot of flexibility there. Is it possible to generate tables with specific variables chosen from the whole data file alongside the charts? If that's a question of are we a TAS package, then again that's not the case. But if you're talking about as part of the automation, let's say from raw data, then yes, that would be possible. The question just came in. Can I comment on the effort to set up? Yeah, that's always a good question. Fairly typical to, let's say, doing one wave of a tracker by hand. That one wave will be the sort of setup time, but then next wave you're talking about, like we saw, updating the whole deck in minutes. So setup time similar to doing one deliverable by hand, usually a bit quicker than that, and then so much quicker once the project's repeated next wave or another country and so on. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate your time and interest today. Please, as Rihanna said, look at the online resources documents that are available here in the platform and reach out to us if you have any questions, if you have any more questions, or you want us to set up a proof of concept for you. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. What a rapid round of questions then. If you still have more questions, you can add them. The console will stay, available to ask questions. And for those watching the on-demand, Benjamin will still be able to answer those. But thank you so much, Benjamin. Thanks to everyone also for watching short 30 minutes. Just remind you again, in the resources, you'll see there are some items you can download, so you can get like a sort of goodie box, so grab those. ESOMAR's also done a little cheeky promo and then added the link to our own events and find out how to join part of our membership community. We have another event tomorrow on customer experience, so feel free to join us. And like I said, this has been recorded and you will receive a copy of this broadcast probably tomorrow in your inbox. So for everyone, thank you so much. Good night or good morning or wherever you're joining from. Bye.